Greetings, my name is Jonathan Uni, and I'm here to talk about my comparative essay, which I've titled Veils of Society, which compares Carlota Walls Lanier's A Mighty Long Way to Kenji Yoshino's Preface and the New Civil Rights, two articles which can be found in the book The Emerging. Um, A Mighty Long Way is basically Carlota's narrative on being raised in a heavily segregated town, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and the experiences she went through in the early integration effort, which was Little Rock 9 Central High School, during which her and many other children were subject to multiple forms of bullying, both verbally and physically. Um, I feel like this compares to Yoshino's article because Yoshino's article is about covering and the masks we wear throughout society. How some people pretend to be something they're not. For example, there are many Hispanics who they claim to have never tried many traditional Hispanic foods. And it depends on who they're around. If they're around other Hispanic people, they'll admit that they have. But if they're around, say, somebody who's white or a predominantly white crowd, they'll deny it because they don't want to seem like just a typical average Hispanic. They want to seem more white. And this is because we want to fit in wherever the white's the majority. We want to feel accepted. It's that sense of acceptance that we look for. In what Yoshino says is that covering is just natural to us. It's just something we use to be accepted. It's natural. It's a form of it's a form of adaptation. It's what we use to get over obstacles, the obstacles of racial segregation, of racial profiling, and not just racially. It can be done in forms of, for example, sexual orientation, where homosexuals are afraid to say that they're gay because of the social stigma built around it. Yoshino himself covered a bunch of times and wore masks because he was born a gay Asian male. And there are many ways in which in many parts throughout the story, Carlota is given reasons to back down and to come out defeated. Throughout the bullying, there's this red-headed girl that goes after her in the hallway and steps on her ankles harshly just to physically torture her. There are names being called, and an example of how she uses covering is a game that she used to play with her friends called Playing the Dozens, which consisted of all the children coming up with the worst insults that they could possibly muster and just saying them to each other, so that way they could psychologically prepare themselves to anything the white people would throw at them. So that way, no matter what they said, they would come out seemingly unfazed. However, nobody's gonna be calm with being called names, being harassed. It's just an outer shell that they form in their minds to fortify themselves so that they don't snap. As a result of being part of history, they had the burdens not only of their own education, but to pave the way for future generations of minorities that would come after them. This made all of the kids, including Carlota, to mature very quickly because they were put in a situation that even most adults would not be able to handle. Through everything they did, they would just have to put a hard exterior over themselves so that they would not seem defeated. They did not want to succumb to their oppressors. Their oppressors being the white people who didn't want them there. They couldn't give them the joy of seeing them defeated, seeing their wills broken. They just had to keep going. And then this comes to the point that why are we considering covering as a violation of our natural civil rights? I mean, granted that it is something we abuse of, that doesn't let us be our natural selves. We should be. However, it's a tool that we use. It's a power that is given to us through nature. As it's an aspect of adaptation, and it's become a social aspect as well. It's not just something that we say is holding us back to being our true selves. It's something that brings us forward. If we meet somebody who's of a higher social ranking than we are, we want to measure up to them. We have to measure up to them. That's how we get opportunities. We could get a job out of it. If it's a vice president at a corporate company, we could get a great night out of it. If it's a celebrity, I mean, who doesn't want to be on a celebrity's good side, or anybody who's in a higher ranking? It's a way of getting opportunities, as I said before. It's how do I put this? We just shit. We're given this power that to be able to show many faces to different people, to be able to react to different people in different ways. If somebody's grumpy, we're not just gonna come out as annoying and just try to tick them off just because we can. If somebody's grumpy, and if somebody wants to talk about something, we come out with this mask of a person who's understanding, who will listen to them. On the contrast, if we come out with somebody who's outgoing, who just wants to go with the moment and have fun, we're not just gonna come out as this person who's just calm and just letting things go by and not seizing the opportunity. We have to react to different people in different ways. That's how you learn how to socialize. That's how you learn what type of person you truly are. Rather than take covering as a burden to our progress as human beings, we should take it as a power given to us by nature. Which comes to the question, are we victims of covering, or is covering a victim of us? Because we use covering. Covering doesn't use us. We just lose control of it. The point of this information is to know what we have. As Francis Bacon once said, knowledge is power. But what is power if we can't harness it? Power can only take us as far as we use it. And ultimately, it's our choice whether we let the power drive us or we drive the power. In other words, to control covering and to use it to our advantage, or to let covering control us and just be someone who we're not in a complete way. Well, yeah, this is basically the whole summary of what I wrote, and thanks for hearing me out. Bye.